Well, a new exhibition in Spain renews interest in the Shroud of Turin. It showcases a life-size model of a man depicting the person who was wrapped in the shroud, to many, Jesus Christ.
For centuries, the Shroud of Turin has become one of the most mysterious and controversial pieces of cloth on the face of the planet. For some, it's a hoax, or it's an ordinary person who came to their demise in some brutal way. But to others, it represents something truly remarkable. And now, for the first time, experts have spent years recreating what they believe to be the mystery man under the shroud. The mysterious Shroud of Turin is something that has baffled scientists for years and been a source of great wonder to faithful all over the world. And now, here at the Cathedral of Salamanca in Spain, a new exhibition has been launched that aims to portray, like never before, the body that was wrapped in that shroud. Inside the cathedral, the exhibition is on display, showing various paintings and items to illustrate the last days of Jesus' life. Álvaro Blanco is a Spanish art expert and the man behind the entire project.
What makes this exhibition special is that after 14 years investigating the Holy Shroud, we have reached a point where it's no longer a debate of science, but more a debate of reality. We know that the shroud was wrapped around a body of a man, and now we have reproduced that man.
Much work has been done throughout the centuries to try and confirm or disprove the authenticity of the actual Shroud of Turin, but never before has such painstaking work been put into recreating a life-sized model of the man who would have been under it.
For the first time in history, the image we have created on the shroud lacks the influence of an artistic movement. It is not Romanesque, it is not Gothic, it is not Michelangelo, it is not Renaissance, no. This is reality, it's hyper-realism.
If you love this kind of content, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. We produce amazing videos with interesting topics in the future that are sure to interest you. You can subscribe now and hit the notification bell. Mystery Code.
At the end of the exhibition is what the organizers are calling the hyper-realistic figure of the mystery man, and in front of the waiting press and local dignitaries, the figure is unveiled to the world. The figure is an extraordinary piece of work, looking incredibly lifelike. The hyper-realistic sculpture, which is made of latex, silicone and real human hair, has been based on data collected from the Shroud of Turin.
The skin sinks. The hair is human. It weighs 75 kilos. It behaves like a person. It is real, right? I think this has been a big risk because we did manage to create successfully the image of the man under that shroud.
Even the head has wounds and blood, the suggestion being that they're from the crown of thorns. The exhibition is not claiming that this is the figure of Jesus Christ, or not. It wants people to visit and view it and come to their own conclusion of who the mystery man is. But for its creator, Álvaro Blanco, after working on the piece for so long, the answer to him is obvious.
Perhaps the answer is as simple as we've been told, that we are looking at the sacrifice of a person made in an act of love, in an act of kindness, and in which he left that holy shroud as a memory.
Interesting to note that the Catholic Church does not officially endorse or reject the Shroud of Turin. The exhibition will now begin its tour around the world, and its creator told me today that he is hoping the people who come to see it will be profoundly moved, having seen for the first time in such a realistic way the portrayal of the body, the man of Jesus Christ, who was wrapped in the Shroud of Turin.
2 days ago it was announced that a Shroud of Turin sample was tested by scientists from the National Research Council's Institute of Crystallography. The well-respected publisher MDPI released in their heritage, peer-reviewed scientific journal that a new dating method discovered an aging time of 20.2 plus or minus 0.8 centuries, and that the results are compatible with the hypothesis that the Turin Shroud is a 2,000-year-old relic. This is contrary to a 1989 carbon dating which stated that the shroud was only 7 centuries old. This has led many people to not believe in the authenticity of the shroud, but with this being said, the lead scientist of the new examination stated, "We are dealing with 2 dating techniques, radiocarbon and X-ray, which have very different results. In such cases, when 2 different techniques do not agree on a date, caution is required before final conclusions are reached." I do agree with that statement, and in this video I'm going to go into this and other peer-reviewed journals that address the accuracy of the dating. The second peer-reviewed journal was from a member of the Shroud of Turin research project who personally analyzed the shroud. Here's what he said.
I had given up on the shroud, and this was about the same time that the lunatic fringe were coming up with an infinite number of ways the date could be wrong, and this was just the last straw.
I got a call from Ray, and he goes, "This is nonsense. I can prove these people wrong in 5 minutes." And I said, "Well, Ray, go for it."
So I read their paper, and I thought, I've got the samples that can shoot that full of holes. So I got out the Ross samples, and I got out the shroud samples, and I went to work again.
He discovered that the wrong samples were selected for the dating. He concluded, the radiocarbon sample was thus not part of the original cloth and was invalid for determining the age of the shroud. He also calculated a new date between 1300 and 3000 years old. Again, this is from a well-rated, published, peer-reviewed journal. What he believed happened is this.
If you happen to hit a place where a yarn segment from the original shroud was spliced into the new reweave part, the splice very definitely shows the new yarn that was being put in and dyed to match. The only thing in the shroud that was dyed or stained was this radiocarbon area.
His findings were confirmed by John Brown from Georgia Tech and Bob Villarreal from Los Alamos National Laboratory. I've received many comments that say that Wikipedia disagrees with the findings of Rogers, so we should ignore it. However, I would recommend looking into the sources, as they even mention the date may be incorrect. A third peer-reviewed journal also questions the 1989 carbon dating. In October 2019, an analysis of the raw data showed inconsistencies and requested a new carbon-14 date. I want to address those that in light of these journals still believe the carbon-14 dating was done correctly. I would ask, what's harder to believe? That the carbon-14 dating was done incorrectly, or that a chemist from the original research team wrote a peer-reviewed journal against his original hypothesis after testing on a sample, in addition to a new dating technique from a sample from the shroud that showed a different date, and in addition to another journal that saw inconsistencies in the raw data from the carbon dating.
If you love this kind of content, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. We produce amazing videos with interesting topics in the future that are sure to interest you. You can subscribe now and hit the notification bell. Mystery Code.